It's like you're reading my mind. This is exactly what I needed to hear today. I can't tell you how many times I've heard those words or some variation of those words. Am I psychic? Definitely not. All I'm doing is paying attention to my students, customers, and clients, watching the Facebook group, listening to the kinds of questions that are being asked on my coaching calls, and get this, addressing what comes up. That's it. The result? My students, customers, and clients often feel like I'm giving them exactly what they need when they need it. It almost seems like I'm reading their minds. The challenge is that most people go into product delivery with a plan for how they want things to go, and then they try to stick with that plan, even if things aren't going as planned, and things never go exactly as planned. My friend Matt McWilliams says, "You don't need a good plan, you just need a plan." The reason why is that the plan changes as soon as you begin to implement it, and that's a good thing. As you receive more feedback and more information from your customers, you want to let that change your plans so you can serve them at a deeper level. Have you ever heard of the observer effect? Without going too deeply into quantum physics, it states that simply observing a situation or phenomenon necessarily changes that phenomenon. Regardless of what kind of experience product you're creating, your job as a facilitator is to deeply observe what happens as people interact with your product, and through that observation change both your product and people's experience of it. In other words, stay flexible. Let go of perfectionism or needing to be right. Just get real and observe what's happening. Let go of your preconceptions about how you want things to go once you start to deliver a product, and simply pay attention to how people are actually responding to your product. Be open to feedback. Be honest with yourself and others about what's working and what's not. Address those things openly and vulnerably with the desire to serve. People won't fault you for making mistakes. They will fault you for trying to hide or deny those mistakes.
Girls, who pooped in the kitchen?
Let me give you a couple examples. In EPM 2017, we made 3 big mistakes in the delivery of the program. And we make mistakes in every enrollment cycle. Some big, some small, but mistakes nonetheless. Why? Because we're trying new things. We're trying to iterate our way to awesome and make the program better every time we deliver it. Unfortunately, we can't predict with 100% certainty the impact of those changes or how they'll be received. We just have to try something and see what happens. And that's how we make major breakthroughs and discover things like the experience formula. It's also how we make some pretty spectacular mistakes. Let me start with the biggest mistakes we made in the program. We decided to let students choose their own experience product success coach. We thought it would create a better coaching experience if we gave people the ability to choose their coach. Unfortunately, things didn't work out as planned. First of all, we tried to create a custom technology to allow people to choose their coaches on a first-come, first-served basis, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific on a Friday. There was no way for us to test the exact use case scenario of 500 students hitting the same page ahead of time, and there was a bug in the code. The system let people sign up for coaches multiple times, and our students were so keen that they kept submitting, so all 500 coaching spots were quickly filled. That means that we weren't able to assign coaches as planned, and people were disappointed. We got flooded with support tickets and Facebook messages. Within minutes, I went onto the Facebook group and delivered a Facebook Live, letting people know what happened and what to expect, which gave the feeling of what? You got it. Just-in-time delivery. In that video, I was addressing the concerns that I could see cropping up on the Facebook group as people were losing trust in us and the program, and they were concerned that they wouldn't get a coach. Remember, right at the beginning of a program, people are feeling vulnerable and looking for one of 2 things: validation that they made the right choice, or a reason to opt out so they can give up on the scary commitment and return to the way things were before they signed up. I knew this mistake could be giving people a reason to opt out, so I acted as quickly as possible, jumping on Facebook Live to address challenges and concerns in real time. We also sent out an email later that day with the subject line, EPM Coach Apocalypse 27, when the bleep hit the fan. I'll read that email to you in just a minute so you can see how we handled a big mistake right at the beginning of the program. The unfortunate thing was that through our good intentions in making something more complicated than it needed to be, we created a downward death spiral right at the beginning of our program. And we're supposed to be the experts on creating experience escalation. It's not like we hadn't done the program before. We had, and the coach selection went smoothly. We were simply trying something new that didn't work. Beyond not working, it failed spectacularly and very publicly. Most people forgave us, some did not. The other big challenge with this system was that some coaches created better videos introducing themselves to the community than others, so the demand for a top coach was off the charts, and students got really attached to having him as a coach. Unfortunately, we couldn't assign 150 students the same coach and provide a great experience, which means that we had to let the other 100 students down. And this scenario played out across all the student selections. I'd say that at least half of our students didn't get their first choice, and many didn't get their second or third choice either. That meant that right at the start of the program, they were feeling disappointed and let down, like we were taking something away from them when the truth was that we were giving them over 40 hours of group coaching throughout the program, unlimited email access, and our Google Docs system where all their top milestones were vetted by a coach. Way more access and support than any other program at this price point. Yet the coach apocalypse had them feeling like we were taking something away from them, and it diminished the value of what they were actually receiving. All 10 of our coaches are awesome, and all 10 of them are fully equipped to help you get from mission to mission accomplished. But the way we set it up turned into a popularity contest and created an energy of scarcity and disappointment right at the beginning of our program. Whoops. Big whoops. I was heartbroken. I really wanted everything to go perfectly for you. But what could I do at that point other than address what happened and move forward? So here's the email we wrote. Notice the fun animated gif of Will Ferrell yelling, "No!" Hey, Marisa. First off, thanks. I really appreciate your patience because the shenanigans around coach selection could not have been crazier. If you're a little behind, here's what happened, and a link to my Facebook Live explaining the situation. Anyway, when the page crashed, Murray be like, "No!" He takes his text seriously. Thankfully, we have a supportive tribe, and y'all rolled with the punches, even if you felt a little disappointed. We were disappointed too. Thanks for the love. Then we included a bunch of Facebook quotes of people giving us support and saying, you know what? It's all good. And then we continued, letting them know what to expect. And now we need to get you coaches. Here's how it'll work this time. Step 1, review the coach options. Step 2, pick your top 5 choices. Step 3, go to link at 1 p.m. to make your selections. Since we can't automate the system, you're not going to be able to see in real time which coaches are still available, so we may have to default to your second, third, fourth, or even fifth choice based on when you submit your coach preferences to us. We will still be assigning coaches on a first-come, first-served basis based on when you submit your choices to us. This new survey will replace all previous choices you may have made already. All students will need to fill out this new survey, even if you received a coach confirmation email previously. Thanks again for your patience and understanding. Blue Skies, Marisa. P.S. All the details are here in my Facebook Live from today. Link. So that's product delivery mistake number 1, the coach apocalypse. The lesson we learned is that simple is usually better than complicated. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Or as I used to say when I was an art student, if it ain't Baroque, don't fix it. Who likes Baroque art anyway? Now that I'm airing my dirty laundry, let me share our next mistake. This one wasn't as extreme, but it's still a valuable lesson in the iterate your way to awesome process. The first time I delivered EPM in 2016, I taught every training live. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I showed up for an hour and I taught. On Tuesdays, I did laser coaching, and on Thursdays, the coaches did their laser coaching. In 2017, I decided to update the program and pre-record the entire thing from start to finish, including the bonuses. That was 55 videos. Yup. I rewrote and recorded 55 videos in less than 2 months. That's an average of 1 completed video per day. Why didn't I just use the replays from 2016? You got it. I wanted to create a better experience. When I delivered the program in 2016, I felt limited by the 60-minute time frame of each session. Since the first version of the program was 8 weeks, I only had 24 sessions in the entire program. So for example, I taught experience escalation in just 2 huge trainings. That factor, anyone? By re-recording the program, I was able to break that down into 8 bite-sized trainings that made this core part of the program more accessible. However, there was one drawback to pre-recording trainings that we were concerned about. EPM 2016 had an incredible community feel. We were getting together live 4 days a week. I was in super close contact with the students and able to really observe what was going on for them, which helped me make EPM 2017 even better. We were concerned that the switch to pre-recorded trainings would impact the community feel. So we decided to offer release parties on Tuesdays and Thursdays, where we would screen one of the videos we had released that week. Then I'd answer questions about that training at the end of the training, just like I did with EPM 2016. However, people weren't super interested in coming to watch a training that had already been released. It had a fundamentally different energy than coming to watch me deliver a training live. While we were able to use Zoom in a mode that allowed us to optimize for video playback and computer audio, so we could stream the pre-recorded videos back at a relatively high quality, it just wasn't the same experience. So by the end of the program, we only had around 50 people turning out for these, or just 10% of the program. People vote with their eyeballs, and I pay attention to what they're showing up for. While the release parties enabled us to record some good Q&A for future programs, they didn't contribute to the program enough to make it a worthwhile investment of time for me or the majority of our students. While the students who did come loved it and appreciated the Q&A opportunity, this isn't something that we decided to continue in future versions of the program. We will continue to release trainings in 2 batches each week, and students will still have access to group coaching 3 times a week, Mondays with Marisa, Wisdom Wednesdays with their coach, and Implementation Fridays. So instead of offering 3 live sessions 5 days a week, we'll offer group sessions 3 days a week. So product delivery mistake number 2 was assuming people would want to show up live to watch pre-recorded content. The lesson we learned here is that more is not always better. A simpler program structure would not only be easier for us to deliver, it would be easier for our students to receive. Again, we were a victim of our own good intentions. We try to give too much, and too much is often just that, too much. Simple is almost always better. Create the minimum viable product, and your students, customers, and clients will love you for it. They're busy, and doing something new often feels overwhelming no matter how much you break down or simplify the process. You ready for product delivery mistake number 3? I hope my mistakes are making you feel better about yourself. Years ago, I was on a boat down the river in Costa Rica. I looked up and I saw an iguana at the top of a very tall tree start to lose its balance. Arms and legs flailing, it tried to catch its footing, but it couldn't hold on. It plummeted 150 feet into the river below. I was in awe. I had rarely seen an animal really mess up like that. They're more connected to their instincts, so they usually don't make the kind of stupid human mistakes that we make because we're too smart for our own good. The smarter and more talented you are, the more likely you are to have a cognitive bias that has you believe that your subjective experience is reality. That's why it's so important to take an earn while you learn, iterate your way to awesome, just-in-time approach to product delivery. As I said, people vote with their eyeballs and their wallets. Never assume that your best laid plans are etched in stone. Always assume that whatever you create can and will get better once you see how people respond, what's working and what's not. I'm a seasoned product creator and I still made plenty of mistakes. And those mistakes play an important function. They give you feedback on what's working, what's not, and how you can improve. I've noticed that if I don't dare to try new things, I'm less likely to make mistakes, and I'm also less likely to make the quantum leaps that lead to new discoveries in product creation and delivery. So sometimes you have to accept the good, the bad, and the ugly. Without sorrow, there is no joy. Without disappointment, there is no triumph. The best moments of our lives come in contrast to the worst. So the only way out is through, accepting it all as part of our human experience. So product delivery mistake number 3, in EPM 2016, I was taking an earn while you learn approach to delivering our product and creating each training just in time, before I showed up to teach it on our Monday, Wednesday, and Friday trainings. That's a good thing since it gave me huge insight into what was going on for my students at exactly the moment I taught the training. And that insight is now baked into all the other trainings in EPM. One thing that I noticed in 2016, when I followed the usual release schedule of 3 trainings per week, is that students received many of the Experience Marketing Essentials trainings too late. So by the time they learned about a particular campaign, it was too late to implement it before our mission accomplished deadline. In 2018, I thought I'd improve on this by releasing all the Experience Marketing campaign trainings before our 2 holiday break weeks. That way our students could watch them when they were ready to watch them and have all the trainings ahead of time so they could make smart, informed choices about how they wanted to market their products. Sounds great in theory, right? But solving one problem often creates another. Your experience product is an ecosystem where everything impacts everything else, and when you change one thing, it can impact something else. While I knew this would create thud factor by changing our bi-weekly release schedule to dropping 2 weeks worth of trainings in one go, I didn't predict how people would respond to seeing the total number of available XP points shoot up by 30 points overnight, right when many people were just getting caught up and going into their holiday breaks. As you know, each training has 3 XPs associated with it, 1 for watching the training and 2 for completing the action. Even though half of these trainings were optional, it still felt overwhelming. While I did announce what was happening in the Laser Coach-a-thon and in the trainings themselves, we didn't do enough in our emails and Facebook group to let people know what was happening and what to expect. So we created Thud Factor and a little downward death spiral. We listened to the feedback from our students, and I did end up recording a video after the holiday break, letting people know what's up with all the videos, which our students appreciated, but it came a bit too late. I was on holiday myself and trying to get off the grid for a few days. Live and learn, right? Let me share that video with you now so you can see how you can let your students, customers, and clients know what's happening at key moments of potential friction in your program. That's part of using experience escalation to build unstoppable momentum from mission to mission accomplished. Hey, welcome back from the holidays. Happy New Year. This is going to be your year to make some very big things happen in your business and with your experience product. So I've heard from a few people and you're wondering, Marisa, Christine, what is the deal with all these videos and all these trainings? It seems like a lot and I'm feeling overwhelmed. So I wanted to let you know that we're doing things a little bit differently for the Experience Marketing Essentials module. So we've dropped all of the videos that you're going to get for the entire module right up front. So you're not getting any more videos again until week number 10 on January 30th. So basically for the next 3 weeks, there's no more videos to watch. But what we did want to do is make sure you had all of the videos right up front so you could pick and choose which marketing campaigns are right for you and then have all the resources and materials and trainings that you need to just implement your marketing campaigns and then launch it, start getting customers, bringing them in the door. So that's the deal with the Experience Marketing Essentials. You're still going to have access to the coaching 3 times a week, and then in our break week, we're going to have another Laser Coach-a-thon with me. So we just wanted to make sure you had everything you need right at the beginning. Last year, we were kind of dripping the materials out, and then people weren't getting information about particular campaigns until the end of the module, and then it was too late to implement those campaigns. So we wanted you to have everything up front so you knew exactly, okay, I'm doing these 3 campaigns. I've got all the materials that I need about those campaigns. I've also got the website ATM material and the copywriting material and the technology material and everything else. So now you can just focus on implementation for the next 3 weeks, and we're here to support you through the implementation process. So there's a lot more spaciousness around it. So more or less, this is week 6 of the program. I call it the Marketing Deep Dive Week. So really it's about watching all the different relevant trainings, and only the trainings that relate to the 3 campaigns that you chose. You can always come back to other trainings later on. And I recommend choosing campaigns and then bring in the Bucks training, kind of gives you an overview of all the different campaigns and when it's appropriate for you. Then in week 7, you really start to get your marketing campaigns ready to launch, right? And then week 8 is implementation and launch week. So finish getting your marketing campaigns ready and pull the trigger. Put it out to the world. Start to kind of market. And you can begin to get into conversations earlier if you're doing Chatterbox and start with an experience. You don't have to wait until week 8 to do that. So whenever you're ready, just go ahead and start. And then week 9, continue launching. Continue your marketing campaign. If you have not pulled the trigger yet, you need more time to get it together. Launch it at this time. And then week 10, it's still launch week. You want to continue launching. You want to pivot. You want to iterate your way to awesome. You want to beware of the marketing mindfuck. And then week 11 is our mission accomplished celebration. So you can wrap up your campaigns, celebrate your wins, submit your story, and really start to turn your attention to fulfilling and delivering on all those new customers that came through the door. And then week 12, Message to Money Live, we're going to be together. And if you haven't booked your ticket yet, there's a link in the note below to book your ticket, because I'm going to show you how that product that you've been working on is actually situated in your larger experience business, and how to kind of turn this one-time thing into a thriving business that's consistent, that's providing for you, where you can be of service day after day after day. So that's how this marketing module works. It's a little different. That's why it's so front-loaded, but don't expect that you're going to keep getting all these videos dropped on you. No more videos for 3 weeks, I promise, more than 3 weeks. Not until January 30th will you get another video training from us. It's just going to be coaching, just support for you to implement and launch. So really stoked to kind of see what happens, and this is the time to kind of double down on your commitment. I know that marketing brings up all kinds of emotions and all kinds of overwhelm because it feels like it's getting real. And it's easy for the logical brain to start making all these excuses as to why you have to wait and why you're not ready. But the truth is that you're as ready as you'll ever be, and the only way to get more ready is to move forward and make it happen. So you've got all the support you need, you've got all the training you could possibly need, you've got this incredible context and a community of people who are rooting for you to win. You've got coaching 3 times a week, and you've got unlimited email access to your coach. So you got this, and you can do this, and you've got something like between now and 3 or 4 weeks to make this happen. You can make $2,000 over the next 3 to 4 weeks. You absolutely can. All right? And I look forward for Message to Money being this massive celebration of all that you've done, and looking forward to the next steps of what comes next now that you've got this product, right? It's just the tip of the iceberg on your business journey. Whether it's your first product or your 3rd or your 5th or whatever it happens to be, there's so much more growth and so much more excitement on the other side of this. And I love this quote from Thomas Edison. So many people give up right when they're on the brink of breaking through and succeeding, because they think that they're failing, but they're not. They're just so close and you can't quite see it yet. So go out there, live your message. That's the schedule for this week. All of the details are below in the note that I just wrote. So you've got a sense of what your schedule looks like for the next month of the program. And like I said, we dropped all the videos at once. You can get them out of the way. Only watch the ones that are relevant to you. Then move on to implement, launch that campaign, make it happen, start talking to people, and get our support and ask questions along the way. And you got this. You can do $2,000 in the month of January. And it is, bar none, the best time to launch, okay? So make it happen. Love you all. Go out there, live your message, and see you very soon in February. So that's it for product delivery mistake number 3, XP overload. The lesson we learned here is that you can start the downward death spiral in your product at any time, even towards the end of your program. So it's important to stay vigilant and keep responding to what's happening for your students, customers, and clients just in time. Stay flexible and be willing to make what I call micro pivots along the way. These are minor and sometimes major adjustments to your product to better serve your students, customers, and clients. Listen to the feedback you're getting, whether it's direct feedback or indirect feedback through shares and posts, and adjust as needed. Your experience product is a living, breathing, evolving thing, not something you create once, then rinse and repeat. I believe the magic of experience products often happens in the gaps between your plans. What are the challenges and concerns that emerge in the program that you didn't anticipate? How do you respond? How can you play these gaps to create an even deeper experience than you could have possibly dreamed up in advance? How can you leverage email, Facebook posts, and Facebook Lives to provide just-in-time messages that give the impression that you care, you're listening, and that you're reading people's minds? How can you be more fully present to what's actually going on, and stay open to making as many micro pivots as you need to iterate your way to awesome. How can you let go of ego, let go of needing to do it right or look good, and focus on being of service? How can you integrate feedback loops at key moments in your product delivery so you're not relying on your own self-perception of how things are going and can make sure that you're getting the feedback you need to iterate your way to awesome? Keep in mind that you won't make everyone 100% happy no matter how good your product is. People's experience in your program is as much about them as it is about you. As I always like to say, you can be responsible to people, but you can't take responsibility for them. Take feedback with a grain of salt. Look for the patterns and not the exceptions. Be willing to let go of the outliers who won't be happy no matter what you give them. Listen to your own inner guidance. You are the subject matter expert, while staying present, open, and flexible to what actually wants to happen. Then get out of the way and let your product emerge. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to take a just-in-time approach to your product delivery, to know that even the best laid plans don't go as planned, and to listen, stay open, be flexible, and let your product evolve in sometimes unexpected ways. Take the failures and feedback in stride and realize it's not about you. You haven't done anything wrong. You're simply iterating your way to awesome. And when you're open and vulnerable about what's going on, your customers will love you for it. In the next and last training of this module, we'll go deeper into what I call the psychology of imperfection and how you can make your product better by letting go. Now go out there and live your message.